You know what, Sam?
What?
We have a trade to discuss.
Yes, we do. Sam, ever since Friday night happened, I have been waiting to record this episode. Something magical happened Friday.
Yeah,
And
we lost to the Blackhawks this weekend. I'm sorry, not the Blackhawks, the Islanders.
you didn't even get the team right.
No, I didn't because I can't be serious.
No, you can't. Okay. But because of what happened Friday night, and yes, a huge trade happened with the Hurricanes, as I'm holding up my jersey, for those watching, or sorry, listening. But big trade happened, and what we're gonna do is NHL news first, and then we're going to recap the Islanders game. And then for the last half of the episode, we're going to discuss and dissect that trade because it's not only were two teams involved, but three teams were. So it's going to be a fun episode to delve into that big trade. But
Yep.
as usual, Sam, we have a great partnership with who?
SeatGeek. So if you want to save, get $20 off your first purchase. Use promo code Keeniac Report. You want to go see an away game, a home game, a concert, a comedy show, whatever you want to go do. Football, Super Bowl's coming up. I bet you can get tickets on SeatGeek. And if you want to, and we all know those aren't cheap. So if you want to at least give yourself, beer money or something, use promo code Keeniac Report. First purchase will get you $20 off.
Yes, it's a great opportunity, and we're trying to get you to seats, not just at Hurricane games, but games and venues as well.
Yep.
So great deal. And Sam, remember we are having a ticket giveaway. I'm sure you know.
Yes.
For the upcoming Chicago game. Is there a deadline? Because we
Yep.
probably need
Deadline
to have a deadline.
is. I had it in my head, but let me just verify it. Because this is coming out Monday. We've had this going on now for a little while. Because the game is Thursday. Deadline is puck drop against the New York Rangers. Puck drop against the New York Rangers. You must favorite game of the season. Tell us why. Show us you did a review. You get 3 entries that way.
Yes. So you can email us. You can direct message us, which people have already done on Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, X, whichever you want to communicate with us. Our email is in our descriptions on both YouTube and on the traditional podcast stuff. So you have multiple avenues to message us. And speaking of YouTube, remember, if you are watching us on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And if you're listening to us on the drive or just listening to us through Apple, Spotify, whatever, be sure to give us a rating, review, and follow us. It really helps us when you do that stuff.
And if you want to see our raw emotional reactions, go watch the live stream we did with the warning take on Friday night, because you're going to get our thoughts after we've processed it here. So you're going to get a more analytical look at this trade. But if you want to see the raw emotions, go check out our buddies over at the warning take. That was a fun stream. If you didn't already watch that, you really should go check it out.
Yeah, it was fun, but granted, it wasn't easy because, at least for me, because I was trying to keep up with everything on my phone while also looking at the camera. Trying to do 2 things at once wasn't easy.
No, yeah, you're going to get a lot of raw emotional reactions to the whole event, but it was a fun time. So go check that out, and you're going to hear a little bit more of a dissection into what happened after we've had time to process. So you'll get 2 different reactions. So definitely watch all of this podcast and check him out as well.
Definitely. Well, Sam, let's start with some NHL news like we usually start in every episode. It seems like Gary Bettman, the commissioner, he told the NHL Board of Governors to prepare for his retirement. So he's going to be retiring soon, Sam. I'm guessing the booze finally got to him.
You can only be booed so many years and then just be kind of done with the whole thing. So,
I don't blame him if that was his reason.
No, but I'm sure it's not. He's older guy. He's ready to retire. Don't blame the man at all.
No, but I thought once he does retire, though, I'm sure we'll bring it up again. But I think he has done a pretty good job,
Yeah.
the NHL.
Yeah, I think so too. He's played well. He's doing what other than the lockouts, I think you have to look at it and overall the league is, grown some. I think it's time for a new generation to take over or some new ideas and thoughts just because the league needs to grow and keep pace because right now we're towards the bottom of professional sports when it comes to viewership. But I think we can catch the NBA because I think a lot of people are kind of just done with that league. So I think the NHL has a lot of room to grow and can compete for top spots. Baseball's been dying for years; it always has been. NHL is in a prime position to grow and to be better, and it's where Gary Bettman has grown this game, and it's 100% true. He's grown this game, and he's brought hockey to markets that aren't traditional hockey markets, right? You take a look; it didn't work out in Atlanta and Arizona, but we're still talking about going back. Like without Gary Bettman, we wouldn't have hockey in the South, right? You got the Florida Panthers, the Carolina Hurricanes, Tampa Bay Lightning. Uh,
Dallas Stars.
they have hockey thriving and doing well. And for a long time, hockey was doing very well in Arizona.
Hmm.
Um, and we had all stars like Ilya Kovalchuk playing in Atlanta. So we're not, this is a league that has expanded into non-traditional markets thanks to Gary Bettman, who has believed in hockey in North Carolina specifically for a long time. He has made it clear, even when we weren't playing well, that hockey was not going to leave North Carolina. So I will always be appreciative of that.
Yes, I will too. And Sam, if they were to name a successor for Gary Bettman, I would think it'd be Bill Daly. I told
Yeah, I
you
would
that
tend to agree.
before, but I like Bill Daly, and I think he deserves it at least. So, and partly because I don't know anybody else that could be the commissioner for the NHL other than Bill Daly. So keep that in mind as well. Another thing too, Sam, the Rangers, they've been hot, of course, but they um, were able to extend one of their recently acquired defensemen from Seattle and Will Borgen to a 5-year, $4.1 million deal.
That
Apparently, he's
number
been
caught me
doing
off
pretty
guard.
good. What?
That number caught me off guard.
Really?
Yeah, that's just surprised. It makes me think that they're going to try and move some cap out.
They might be. But I mean, the Rangers, they really
Well,
are hot right now. And
well,
we're playing them Tuesday.
I think it tells me that Keandre Miller is not going to stay
It could be. Or
because they
Ryan
didn't.
Lindgren.
Yeah, one of those two will probably not be with the team next year.
From what I'm hearing, it's more Ryan Lindgren being gone than Miller. And to be honest, I
It's,
like Miller more than Lindgren too, to be honest.
yeah, I would tend to agree with that.
So we'll see what happens in New York. Obviously, Sam, there's probably still in discussions with JT Miller
Well,
in
I've heard that New
Vancouver,
York is
maybe.
basically out of that now.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what I've seen. I've seen that maybe if they may have actually decided not to move Miller, maybe Pedersen's in conversation. So Buffalo apparently is the front runner to get Pedersen.
Yep, they are.
So it
Um,
won't be both that will be moved. It would be one or the other. I cannot imagine them moving both players. That would be almost insane.
yeah, it would be. Um, but it's definitely going to be interesting because seems like Sam, we kind of opened the pave wave of trades for this year.
Yeah, we did, which is nice. We set the market this time.
Yes, we did. It's very interesting. So the last thing I do want to discuss, Sam, because I know if I didn't mention his name, you'd be like, "Why didn't you mention him?" And yes, the New York Islanders, who we just played, did sign Tony D'Angelo,
He had a
and I'm
great game. He
sure
played unbelievable, by the way, against us. He was very good.
on the power play, yes, I thought he
I,
played really good on the power play.
I thought he made some good defensive plays as well. I liked Tony's game.
Yep.
I think playing in the KHL showed that he did not miss a step. He's still very much so an NHL defenseman. He played a lot more than they probably had anticipated because they had an injury 15 seconds in. But
Yeah, true. But what's interesting, for those who don't know, D'Angelo is a former Hurricane. He also played in Russia on the same team as Kuznetsov and future Hurricane in Nikishkin. Seems like what Adam Gold has some inside information on Nikishkin with D'Angelo, and it seems like Nikishkin is going to be a very good defenseman for us in the future.
Just can't wait for him to get here. Just get him here.
I know
Get him here as soon as you absolutely possibly can.
exactly. Is again, we're going to talk a lot about like the future of the Hurricanes because I think that needs to be in discussion with what happened with the trade. But that's kind of it with news around the league. But now we're going to recap the Islanders game. And Sam, before we delve into what happened, what went wrong in this game, I do want to say, because of the trade of Rantanen and Hall, that is going to stir up lots of emotions in that locker room.
Yeah. Because
And
of
I
who
kind of,
left. It's not because of who came in, it's because of who left.
yes, with Netches and Drury.
Also, apparently Marty Natchez has an assist and Jury has a goal in the game today.
Oh, really? Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know
that's
they were
what I
playing
saw.
already.
Drury scored, Natchez with an assist. So good for them getting on the board on game 2.
Yeah, really, that is good for them. Um,
I have no
but
ill will towards Colorado or to Jury. They're a Western. I want Natchez and Jury to succeed out west. And heck, Jury might come back. So, because
mm,
I think he's a UFA at the end of the year.
he's an RFA,
He is an
actually.
RFA. Well,
Yeah,
Jury
he is.
doesn't have to sign in Colorado. So they could trade him. They could not sign him. He could become a UFA. I mean, you don't know. Jury could still
Mm,
eventually play in Carolina again. That's not an impossibility, um, but good for those guys. They've earned their opportunities and they'll thrive in Colorado's system.
yeah, they definitely will. But I mean, I would have been happy with a point out of this Islanders game.
Yep.
Am I happy kind of how they got the point? No, considering they were up 2-0. I mean, in the first period, Sam, you have Roslovic
Yep.
scoring on the right hand side of the rink to put it past Hoberg, I believe was the goalie for the Islanders. And to me, I mean, what a great goal by Roslovic. He needed it because he was like on a 12-game pointless streak. So
Yep.
good for him to get back up on the board. But what a great pass from KK, Sam. My
Yeah.
gosh.
KK's
Elite
hot.
pass. I'm loving it. And I'll admit he's playing like a second line center right
And he's
now.
standing up for his teammates.
Yes, there was a fight that game. Because not Nikishin. Svechnikov kind of got almost got a knee on knee, I believe.
Yeah.
It was at least a leg on leg, but I can't remember the Islanders player he brought down. But
But
boy, that
KK
was a
won the
nice
fight.
fight. He did.
I was super
And
impressed.
I love that for KK. But I continue to be impressed too. Prove me wrong, KK. Please prove me wrong. And then we got some puck luck, Sam, because Aho scored. Obviously, he was trying to pass it to Mikko Rantanen, which even as we're recording this, Sam, I still can't believe we got him. But I mean, puck luck happens. Aho passes it, hits off of an Islanders skate and goes right in between the legs of Hoberg. And it is 2-0 Hurricanes in the first. And Sam, I thought they were actually pretty good at the start of the first. And then I thought the Islanders kind of took over. It kind of showed up a little bit with Romanov scoring to make it 2-1.
Yep.
But I thought the Hurricanes probably their best period was the third period. What do you think? Like what their best periods were?
Yeah, no, I agree with that assessment. I thought Carolina looked really good. I thought Taylor Hall was the best player tonight. I think he was all over the game.
Well, he was
Um,
bumped. Brandon Moore
he-
noticed that.
yeah,
He
he got
bumped
bumped
him
up
up.
and well earned promotion because he was playing so good all night, and I think that's why you brought him in, and I think he brought some life to that second power play unit because the second power play unit was the best looking unit too. So, loved everything I saw from Taylor Hall. after the first period. But yeah, I thought Carolina looked. I think we progressively got better. But you know, you allow a goal. Pacheco probably allows a goal he shouldn't allow in the second one, and you go to overtime and you make mistakes, and that's kind of just the story of the game. It was our mistakes ended up in the back of the net.
Yeah, because you had Lee scoring. I mean, juicy rebound to give up for Kachekov there.
Yep. Yep.
Although I thought he had a good game. I did.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the goals were the kind of soft goals that he allowed probably like a month ago, early into the season. But again, there's some debates on whether he should have stopped the second. Heck, I thought might have should have stopped the third goal. Probably miscommunication between him and Ghost though on that 2-on-1 chance.
Yeah, and
Don't you think?
it was, but it never. You're talking about the overtime goal, right?
Yes.
I mean, but it's on Svetch, right? He took a
It
stupid
is.
shot. He took a stupid pass, and again, he made two mistakes. Corrected the first, and we were unable to correct the second one. It was just like as soon as he shot the puck, I was like, "What are you doing? That's a horrible shot!" And then
Now,
it's like, "Come on, guys! Like it's the game of the game is possession, and a shot like that might, like Adam Gold said, a shot like that in regulation is one thing, but a shot like that in overtime is a no-no."
exactly. It really is all about puck possession, and the Hurricanes just did not do that in overtime. It wasn't just Fetch who made two bad plays, I thought. But I believe Burns was caught offside, which kind of killed the Hurricanes' momentum in the
Yep.
overtime.
Yep.
As much as I loved Rantanen on the team, I didn't think he looked good in that overtime. He gave the puck away earlier, but I'm kind of giving him and Taylor Hall a pass just because of the new change of scenery.
Well, I
But
think
still, I didn't like that.
I thought Rantanen and Hall looked good in this game, but I will say I think Hall looked better. But of the
Yes.
two players, Taylor Hall has been on multiple teams. He's been traded before. He's played in other places. This isn't something he's not used to. He's used to these kind of changes, where Rantanen has played with the same team his entire career. So it's a lot to process. So it's a whole
And Hall knew he
different
was going to
situation.
get traded to Carolina too.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did. He came out and said, "Yeah, I knew it was going to be Carolina. He just didn't know what the holdup would be." And he obviously found out it was because of Rantanen coming in. So
Well, you
he
know what?
knew,
Look,
but Rantanen was shocked. We all knew Rantanen was shocked
yeah,
coming into
Rantanen was
Carolina.
shocked. Taylor Hall was ready. It's just, you got to get over those initial things. Look, Rantanen's going to have a real opportunity to prove himself against New York Rangers, because you got to be on all cylinders when you play against the Rags, and that's the more important game. If we're going to lay a dud, I'd rather lay it against the Islanders than against the Rangers. So you need to come out. You need to get 2 points in regulation against the Rangers.
And
Other than
in
that, I
fact,
think a game against the Islanders was a low event game. It really wasn't all that exciting. Um, you had a big shakeup in the roster, so I think that had a lot to do with the result tonight.
yep.
You lose Natchez, who's very close to a lot of these guys. Again, Natchez, Aho, Svetch, Jarvis, Drury, Slavin. I mean, all these guys drafted and played with Carolina their whole career. So to lose two of those guys, for some of these folks, it's a big change, and it's not an easy one to process as a team. So you lose your top scorer, you lose Jack Drury, heart and soul guy. It's gonna mess with you a little bit. And I think the great thing we have here is Aho is besties with Rantanen. So
Yes, he is. Another thing too, because I remember Adam Gold pointed this out after the game. I actually thought once Taylor Hall was bumped up to the second line, I thought, and to be honest, I probably would say some of the game. To be honest, before he was bumped up, I thought Svetch had a good game. I actually did.
yeah,
Before the overtime. The overtime was bad for Svetch. I'll admit that. But I thought the first three periods, Svetch was pretty noticeable. And obviously Taylor Hall created a chance where Svetch rained one off the post.
yeah,
So
he did. I mean, Svetch still had he had some chances tonight. It's just a shame that the big mistake he made ended up in the back of the net.
It
Um,
is.
but like you said, you've said it, and I agree. It's it's not. We didn't just trade for a bottom six guy, and when you trade for a first line superstar, you're sending serious assets out the door and most likely roster players. And in this case, these were two homegrown Hurricanes that left. And I felt like it was a low event game for a lot of these guys. And it is what it is. I felt we should have won the game only because we were gifted a cold goaltender for the overtime. And we couldn't capitalize on the fact that Sorokin had to play the last
Yeah.
the overtime period because Hoberg, whatever his name is, got hurt. He hurt his blocker side. He couldn't play.
Yeah, his hand.
So it's like, oh goodness, you've just been gifted something on a silver platter. You've literally that extra point was on that platter for you to just take it, and Carolina didn't do that.
No, they did not. But overall, I mean, I think the future looks bright. We're going to talk about the future and the present, obviously, with the Hurricanes. Before we do, we are going to go to one of our sponsors. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-8-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Okay, Sam. One thing of Canes news, and then we'll get to the big trade. But we got an update on William Carrier. He is going to be out long term, at
Sounds
least
like
2
it's the rest.
months.
It sounds like it's basically the rest of the season. We're pretty close to it.
It does, but he might be back for playoffs. From what it
Yeah.
sounds like.
Hey, look, you know what? That's cap space we get to use.
It is. But it sucks because I like Carrier.
I do too.
But hopefully once he's back, it might take maybe a game or two, but he's really a good gritty player and that the Canes I think need because they need some grittiness. So I hope I wish him some speedy recovery. Now the trade, Sam.
There was a trade?
And yeah, there was a trade. I was surprised too. But that trade happened with not just the Colorado Avalanche. It happened with Chicago Blackhawks. And boy, this was a big trade. So, Colorado trades Mikko Rantanen to Chicago, and Chicago retains half of it and was able to trade Taylor Hall to Carolina. Chicago gets a 3rd round pick, and Colorado gets a Martin Etchus, Jack Drury, a 2nd round pick, and a 4th round pick. And I think Carolina got like a prospect too, whose name
Nils Juntrop or Juntrop, something like that. Yeah.
Juntrop. But boy, Sam, I mean, how this unfolded, it was just crazy because you and I were just chilling.
Yeah.
I mean,
just chilling, hanging around, lounging around. And then I said, "Oh, looks like Taylor Hall's coming to Carolina," because that's the first piece of news that came out, is that Taylor Hall was coming to Carolina.
Well, he was scratch for the game. And what's funny enough, Sam, you're like, just imagine he comes to Carolina.
Yeah. So there goes Taylor Hall. So Taylor Hall's out, scratched, and then it comes out Hall to Carolina. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I think Taylor Hall makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
He depth piece, probably not having to move a lot to get him. I'm like, that's a plus. That makes us better. So we're kind of just waiting to see what's going the other way for Taylor Hall. And then Saravelli posts deal is coming together, Rantanen to Carolina. And I about jumped out of my chair and I was like, Sam, Mikko Rantanen's coming to Carolina. And you about shot up out of your bed because you were laying there and you were like, what? And we were all in complete shock that this deal was going down. I had been saying all season, it makes sense, but I didn't have faith that front office would do what makes sense. But all of a sudden, it's going down because all we had been hearing was it was Carolina in on JT Miller and Pedersen, because we had heard Pedersen before. And it sounds like we utilized Vancouver as a smokescreen to get the deal done with Colorado, or it sounds like Carolina had three options. They could have pulled the trigger to get Miller, pulled the trigger to get Pedersen, or pulled the trigger to get Rantanen. And we believe that Rantanen was the direction to go. So Carolina pulled the trigger, got Mikko Rantanen. It took a while for the entire deal to come into place. We were all a little worried, like, oh my goodness, for a player like Mikko Rantanen, is Nikishin going the other way? Nope, Nikishin is not going the other way. In fact, I think Carolina gave up minimal assets when you look at the caliber of player that Mikko Rantanen is.
The only thing that hurt was trading Natchez, but I mean, like what Tolsky said, because he was interviewed, I believe, first intermission in the Islanders game, you gotta give up something in order to get something. And I agree with him on that, because you're able to get a superstar like Rantanen and it only costs you Natchez, Drury, and a couple of picks. Man, Sam, I'm surprised that they didn't even trade a first round pick. A first round pick for Rantanen.
I know.
And they didn't have to trade their top prospects, not just Nikishin, but Morrow's still on the team. Bradley Nadeau is still on the team. Felix Ungersorum. Wow.
We traded 0 prospects. The closest thing to a prospect we traded was Jack Drury. So I'm like, okay.
I know. And it was just,
I will say the benefit of this deal is it sounds like there is an appetite for Jesperi Kotkaniemi. So if they decide to move him, there is an appetite for that player.
Yes, there is. And I can tell there is just by the way he's playing. But, I mean, my reaction, at first I was in disbelief. Because I was just like, are they sure about this? Because you never know if media is going to be pulling some type of prank or something. But it was real deal. I was like, oh my gosh.
Real deal, real players, real. And it was just, oh my goodness.
Let me tell you my dad's reaction when I told him.
What did your dad say?
He laughed.
He laughed?
Like, you're pulling my leg. It was like a sarcastic type of laugh.
Pull my leg.
Yeah, it's like, you're pulling my leg here. He was like, no, And I was like, no, it's real. Like, so I messaged him the Frank Saravelli tweet, and he was like, oh wow. And then he was like, oh wow, we're actually getting Rantanen. But man, we were all, I mean, you, me, Brandon, AB, Matt, we were all on a high that night.
Yeah, it was just a shock, and we all got on. Like I said, check out the raw reaction on the Warning Take and Kaniak Sessions, who did an episode the day after, and ours. If you want to hear all of our reactions, that's the place. That's the place to go to see what we all felt like this weekend, because I know we have a lot of the same listeners. But it was just something. It was something. The whole thing was something.
Yeah, so we explained our reaction. Now we need to kind of dissect this trade. Now, I think there's an excellent video that Steve Dangle did that explained that
Yes.
trade from like Chicago standpoint, Colorado standpoint, even our standpoint. I mean, I think Colorado, what I thought they did is I I understand it because you already won a cup with Rantanen, first of all, and second, it was more of a future move, so I understand that. Chicago, they wanted to move Taylor Hall. At least they got a third round pick
Yep.
back. But for Carolina, that's the main thing we're going to be talking about here. And I think the biggest question with this trade is, are they going to treat him like Jake Gensel, or are they actually going to sign him? I think they're going to sign him, to
It
be
sounds
honest. I
like
really do.
sounds like from what Tolsky said, that's the plan. It sounded like it's more of a let's see, let's let the emotions die down and then kind of have conversations. Rantanen wasn't expecting to be in Carolina, so you got to get through that first. So where there's not going, it doesn't sound like, because if there's a contract in place and the player and the team, they've all been having conversations before the trade happened. That was not the case here. The trade happened, and then he has to think this out. The benefit here, he's playing with Aho. He's best friends with Aho, so that is going to be a very big, 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 big plus. For that to be how this is, get him in front of the hometown crowd, see how he likes playing in Carolina at home. He'll get his first opportunity this Thursday. So it's really uh, how this went down. It's going to take some time, but we have 35 to 40 million in cap space, according to Eric Tolsky, next season. And that is more than enough to get the deal done. That was something, and the problem with Colorado is they didn't want to pay him more than Nathan McKinnon. Completely understandable.
Understandable. Yeah.
Yeah, completely understandable. Carolina is going to be in a place to pay Rantanen more. And because we have the cap space to not only pay Rantanen, the Brink, pull, as Matt said in a group chat today, roll up the Brinks truck, we'll give you whatever you want. But we're going to have the money to do that, plus anything else we want to do, because that's just how much money we're going to have. Especially if it's like 35 million, you give him 14, you're still going to have like 21 million left to fool around with. So Carolina in a great spot to get this deal done, much better than we were with Gensel. Even Tolsky commented on that, and he said, yeah, people are worried that it's going to be, he said he's heard that there's concerns.
And I understand the concerns too. I really
Well,
do. I had some of that concern. I still have some of that concern.
well, I have been very critical of Tolsky, and I think some of it fairly, and I will admit that I was wrong, because he got the deal done and he did it in a way that was just utterly shocking. I never felt like Tolsky was capable of pulling off this kind of trade. I was wrong. Happy to admit that I was wrong, because I always, like in situations like this, I want to be wrong all the time. I want to be wrong.
I mean,
And
same here with KK.
it was the trade went down. We brought him in, and then Tolsky, to his credit, talked about the last summer, and he said, he's heard it, and he said there's a difference here. Is that last year we only had so much in cap, and this year we have a lot in cap space. So even he
I
said
thought he hinted at how much cap is going to go up when he said 35 to 40 million.
yeah, and I think Carolina's in a position now that they will be able to get this deal done and get it done at the number. So as long as Rantanen wants to play here, again, the player has to want to be here. If he does not want to be here, there's just nothing we can do. He was an expensive rental, but I think even as a rental, given the caliber of player, I still think we fleeced Colorado.
Yeah, so here's my hot take. I definitely think we won the trade. I wouldn't go into territory where we fleeced them, just because I thought we kind of helped them in a way with their future, but we definitely won the deal. I I, I would say we're a little bit below the territory of fleecing them. So that's just kind of where I see, because I really do think, I mean, Colorado now has like $5 million in cap space. I don't think they're going to get Crosby, but there have been rumors of Crosby going to Colorado, and I do think Colorado's not done either.
No, maybe they go get Malkin.
Maybe.
So yeah, there's some, Colorado's got a lot of moves left to make, and they got space for. Carolina still has space to make moves, so it's not like Carolina's in a place that we can't do anything either, and we can do what we did here and run money through other teams and all kinds of other cap gymnastics. So Carolina's in a position where they can still do something. I think we'll have a little over $1 million in cap space. I mean, again, if we throw Carrier on LTIR, I think that'll free up some more cap space. So Carolina can do some stuff this dread deadline. I don't expect there won't be another big, huge trade,
No.
but
I can't take another big, huge trade. I just can't.
but there'll probably be some depth moves made. Maybe go out and get a
A
minor,
center. I would say a center. If they really want to go for it, get a
yeah,
center.
go grab a
A
depth
depth center.
center, and then go get a maybe
A
another
depth defenseman.
depth defenseman and depth goalie. What you're going out to get is depth, and those pieces aren't going to be the goalie piece would be the most expensive to go acquire. But I still think you could go get someone like Jack Campbell on the cheap from Detroit.
I mean, you could, but honestly, I would say on the goaltending side, with the way Tokarski's been playing, I don't know if I'd be going for a goalie route. That's just me, though.
Maybe you check and see what the value is.
Yeah, I would agree. You can check, but
I think if you go with
think
priorities, it's a center. I would say defense than goalie because it cannot be. If you aren't willing to bring up Morrow, then it can't be Ty Smith.
No, In fact,
Maybe
they brought up
Stillman
Riley
on that.
Stillman, I believe, the last time they were called a defenseman up. So I think that just proves that they're not that happy with Smith playing.
I get the idea of not wanting to bring up Morrow. You want him to have that full season in Chicago being on the top pair. So I get the development aspect of this, but I don't know if we get to the playoffs. I don't know if the right answer isn't Morrow, right? Because your goal is to win. I don't know if Morrow is not the answer to that question. If you have an injury.
But yeah, we've talked a lot about Rantanen. Taylor Hall, obviously, Sam. I do think he's a rental type of player. But
yeah, I mean, could they resign
him?
He's a
good rental player, I think.
Yeah, he's a good rental. He's cheap rental. He obviously played really well against Chicago. Didn't get a point, but came very close. Created a lot of good opportunities. I thought Hall was the better of the two between Rantanen and Taylor Hall. I loved what I got. What we saw from him was just outstanding, and it was excellent. Do I believe he will eventually be the best player from this trade? No, but he was the best player last night, and I think a lot of that has to do with this is something Taylor Hall is used to, whereas Rantanen's not. So Rantanen will figure it out, but Hall figured it out quicker. But that's just because Hall's been there, done that. Rantanen has not. It doesn't matter how good of a player you are if you've never been traded before; it's a new experience.
Yeah, and another thing too, Rantanen. When I saw him on that bench, comparing him to all the other players, he is a mammoth. He's huge.
He's stall size. I think he's 6'4".
I believe he's taller than Stahl.
He's Stahl height. Like that's that. Stahl is I think our tallest guy, and it's like Stahl and Rantanen. So now we have not only that, we got a skilled guy who's a big dude too.
Yeah, he is. He is Stahl side. They're both 6'4".
So we added skill and size, and that's like that. Those are the two things we need: skill and size, and we got it in both. And I like Taylor Hall too. I think you got some skill there, and Taylor Hall is going to make that second power play better. I would actually like to see the power play units mixed up a little bit.
I do too.
Maybe put Svetch and Hall on the second line, move Blake up to the first unit, kind of thing.
What happened to them? I don't see them passing to like Aho in the bumper or anything like
this
bumper position. It's just weird.
First unit's just not been good, and I'm gonna give them a complete pass this game because you lost a key piece and Natchez, so now it's having to get used to it being Rantanen.
I mean, obviously, I want to win the game against the Rangers, but I'll give them one more game to get settled in. After that, no excuses. Sorry, you get 2 games when there's a big trade that shakes up the locker room. But man, that trade is going to be something, and I really think this is that trade, Sam. I probably sort of thought it was going to be the trade with Gensel. To be honest, Sam, be like, oh, this is the big star forward, but Rantanen's better than Gensel. I was like,
he is.
This is it.
This is it, and you have to get the deal done. The deal done.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, I thought Blake played good. I like Blake, Aho, and Rantanen. Uh, one thing I have noticed when trying to like
Yeah.
construct lines and all with Rantanen and Hall as the additions, um, if you do put Jarvis up in that top six, I don't see anybody where you put next to Stahl and Martinuk. Maybe
Mm,
Blake. I just don't know.
Svetch.
You know? Svetch. Maybe Svetch. Yeah, maybe Svetch.
If it's Svetch, if it's not Jarvis, it's Svetch with Stahl, Martinook. But I think adding Taylor Hall and Mikko Rantanen gives you at least 3 scoring lines. And the way Stahl, Martinook, and Jarvis have been playing, honestly, I think you got 4 lines who can score right now.
Yeah, and I would say when Carrier gets back, I think you need to put him with Stahl and Martinook just because that line is so good
Yeah,
when those 3 players are on the same line.
I agree.
I mean, just man, we got a lot deeper. I think if they really want to go for it, they need to add a couple more depth pieces. But Sam, I think this is a trade that's going to help us possibly long term. Again, the biggest question is, do they sign them? I do think they do.
Yeah, I think this deal gets done. I'm hoping before March 5th. So, the 4 nations face off time, it's going to give some chances. I hope, for one, for Ranton and Naho to play together more. And then he's playing with Aho. Aho's going to lead that effort to convince him that this is the place he wants to be. And just need to hope that they get the
Yeah.
deal done. It sounds like they're willing to give him the money. It's just a matter of whether he wants to stay in Carolina. So let's get the deal done. Let's get it done as quick as possible and move from there.
Yes. And even with all the hype of Taylor Hall and Rantanen coming in, you still need the homegrown talent in Jarvis, Aho, and Svetch.
Yep.
You gotta
Yep.
get them going too. I
I
still
agree.
don't think we've seen prime Aho yet this
No,
season.
and maybe Rantanen helps
Boost
unlock
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's also another benefit. Is they're very close. They've played together, and I think that will Rantanen and Aho I think will make each other better, and I'm excited for that.
I am too. Well, we'll see them again at the Rangers and then home. Chicago, Sam. We're not going to be there, obviously, because of the ticket giveaway.
Yep.
But it's going to be exciting to see them in person for the first time. Once we do, I don't know when your next home game is going to be. I know mine's
Well,
probably going
I'm
to be the
going. Well, my
Utah
next
game.
game is I'll see him before you will because I'll see him in Minnesota.
Oh, that's right. You will.
Yep, I'll get to see him in Minnesota.
But yeah. Oh, man, Sam, I'm still so happy Rantanen's a Hurricane.
Oh yeah, it's
And I'm sure you're happy that your prediction of them getting Rantanen came to fruition.
I've been saying it all season. Wouldn't he look good in a Hurricanes jersey?
Oh, I think he look honestly. I love to see him in our black jerseys. That'd
Oh
be
yeah,
a nice jersey. Oh man,
can't wait. Can't wait. I'll get it once they sign the contract. I'll get a Rantanen jersey.
Yeah, I mean, he's automatically the best player on the team now. He really
Easily.
is.
Yep. He's the best, and he should be paid as such.
Yes, he should. Well, what a great episode to talk about an amazing trade that I think could alter this team, not just for winning the Stanley Cup this season, but for years to come, Sam. Next season, I mean, yeah, Rantanen, if he's on this team, yeah, he's going to be a huge factor. But you'll also have probably improvements in Jackson Blake.
Yep.
You would think Nikishkin's going to be obviously coming in. I just can't wait. Can't wait. Future looks bright, Sam.
It's going to be exciting. Let's get it done. Let's win a cup. This is our chance. This is our chance.
Yes. So we will see you guys Friday.